Today I am going to explain a Korean drama named The Tyrant. Professor No is talking to Director Choi on call, and from his conversation we come to know that an unofficial research named The Tyrant is going on in Korea in which this bioweapon is being made. American intelligence came to know about this and they immediately asked to stop this project because it can prove dangerous for the world. Then Professor No further explains that for this reason NIA, i.e. National Intelligence Service. Suddenly he said he has tied up Dr. Jonas and his team. Joy, as you said, we had disposed of everything well, but now the problem is that Dr. Jonas' team has definitely captured one of the Tyrant. He must have kept the sample with himself, which has probably now got into the hands of NIS. In response to this, Choi says, Professor, no, you do not need to take tension. I am here. I will take care of everything in the future. And friends, after this, go to Choi's clothes shop. Meets a lady named Kang-woo who was a spy master. She tells that I can no longer work for you because all my spies have been killed. And friends, in a flashback we are shown the heads of Kang-woo's men. Even after this, Choi is not ready to back down and now he wants to carry forward this talent project on his own. So to help him one last time, Quinn gives him the blueprint of a portable world in which his last talent sample can be confirmed. There is No, and she also tells that Mr. Che's Dr. Jong can help you in achieving it because she is a hooligan as well as a technician, but friends Choi is afraid to take her help because Jong suffers from dissociative disorder. You know that there is identity disorder too, friends. When her personality switches, she starts behaving violently like her twin brother and she has a strong craving for cigarettes. She just feels that if she gets 1 or 2 more bites, it will be fun. And while they are still talking, they hear the sound of someone coming. In fact, Mr. Paul's 2 right-hand men deployed by American intelligence have come to kill Choi, but friends, Choi had already gone. That is why they kill the spy master Quinn, after which the scene shifts to Jong. She is talking to him at her brother's funeral, when she recalls in a flash how my dead body was cut into pieces. Had he not had tattoos on his body, I would not have been able to recognize his body because those scoundrels had cut his body into pieces and put it in a small bag. Seeing this, I was stunned for a while, but I was not surprised because the path he was on was bound to meet his fate sooner or later. My only regret is that this accident happened when he had left this wrong path and had come to retirement. He had thought about it, that we will start a pub in Southeast Asia and live a peaceful life there, and now I remember my dad saying that life never goes according to our plan. No one can tell what surprise the next Pearl life will give. And anyway, friends, if things are not going according to you, then do not lose heart because this is life, my friends. Here the tables can turn at any time. Well, in the present, Choi's manager hires a gang named Moy who goes to Jong first and says, "Let me feed you the food you want at my restaurant." Friends, Moy's men had surrounded her from all sides in the restaurant, but Jong eats the noodles with no care. Then Moy gets to the point and tells her that a handcrafted Volt has been made in Sweden which we are being taken from one place to another. There will be strict security arrangements and we will have to complete our work within 5 to 10 minutes, Mr. J. That is, after your departure, you are the only one amazing in the entire country. There is a prisoner who can complete this work. After this, he gives him some money and says that this is nothing. After the work is done, you will get more money, but only then the light switches on the geo key and he goes to his brother. She starts behaving like a girl and completely refuses to do this work, which makes them all sweat as to what she is saying. Now Moen gets up and lights her cigarette with the lighter and says, "He will not do it for me, brother. What should I do? Give it, please. We have an old history and I promise you that as soon as the work is done, I will make double the advance payment and will also give you a bonus. This will be enough for your retirement. Then you go to the south with your sister in East Asia and after enjoying their life comfortably, Mo gets up and handles his other personality. Now the scene shifts from here directly to the day of the theft. Then Mo's men and Jong together kill the AIS agents and steal the vault. Friends, here Jong's work was completed but not of Mayon because he had to erase all the evidence behind this work. Hence, along with erasing all the evidence, he also tries to kill Jong by throwing her in the dam. But fortunately, Jong escapes and comes to the shore, although she was badly injured. But friends, she still had the urge to smoke, but her cigarette was over, which makes her more irritated. But then she checks her pocket in which she had hidden the things that Moy wanted to steal, and he didn't even know when Jong took out Tyrant from the vault, and now he is left with only an empty vault. You are a talented man, and now Jung. She puts it back properly with her and moves ahead. She sees that 2 boys have kidnapped a girl and brought her to this isolated place. The girl had already given the cash to them. Now she is scared. She is even asking for her life, but those brutes were not going to leave her. Friends, one of them starts beating the girl by strangulating her, and the other one gets down from the car to urinate, and suddenly Jong comes and stands in front of him. Seeing him, she drops the cigarette from his hand, and then what? Friends, Jong Mast picks it up and gives it a squeeze, and then hits the guy's head on the car window. Then the guy who was inside the car comes out, but outside he does not see anyone else except his suffering companion. And by the time he asks his companion, "Brother, what has happened to you?" Then she gets furious with Young Ka, and both of them get stuck in a deserted place where there is no means of transport. Friends, that girl's life was also saved, but she was very scared because something very bad was going to happen to her. She was just crying, and seeing her in this condition, even Young gets angry that what kind of people are they. Now she kills both the boys by crushing them with the car. Seeing her killing them so brutally, the girl fights further, saying that this is even more dangerous, and gets down from the car and runs away. On the other hand, friends from NS are very angry that they lost the sample of the tent. They were afraid that when Paul would come to know about this, he would not know how that crazy person would react. Now the chairman of NIA asks Director Sa to fix a meeting with by Joey and see if there is any issue in the conversation. It is possible because we had started the Tyrant Project unofficially. Now we cannot arrest Choi officially, otherwise we will also get trapped in this. On the other hand, friends, Choi's manager calls Choi after taking votes from Moyu. Choi orders him to kill Moy and his team. After this, Choi meets Professor No and gives him the good news that the Tyrant has been captured by Dr. Janice and his team. The team is safe. Professor No says that's good, now we should hide. Chai also says okay, let me take you to my safe house. After this, the scene shifts to the Philippines where Paul conducts an experiment on the Tyrant. It is quite disgusting after watching the video. It is not a normal serum but a virus that can be activated with the help of skin and mucus. And near Paul, we see his right-hand man who had killed Quen. He is quite strong. They are strong and powerful, while Paul's men are torturing some spies by hanging them upside down. And seeing all this, Paul was smiling widely. That is, he is a very ruthless psycho type of person. He orders their heads to be beheaded and sent to the headquarters. He then puts on glasses in style and leaves to fix the problem going on in Korea. After this, the scene shifts from here to a village where a man comes to the forest to throw garbage. He sits for a while and smokes, and then he feels something strange. He looks around and suddenly a huge moss monster appears in front of him, who has 3 hands. The poor man runs away to save his life. He tries to run, but falls down, and the monster comes closer to him. Now the monster was about to catch him when the sun comes out. As soon as the sunlight falls, the monster's body starts moving. It begins writhing in pain, and then suddenly there is a blast. The monster's blood spreads on the man's face, which slowly moves and enters his eyes, causing him to become affected. The scene then shifts from here to a different place and further into that village. A young man named Lim Sang enters the village. Upon arrival, he notices a poster explaining that all the villagers have gone on a hot spring trip. Curious, he heads to the house of the man who had encountered the strange monster. The man's wife greets him, saying, "Sir, you won't believe what my husband saw in the forest. No one else does." She continues, "Even I find it hard to believe. The villagers think my husband saw Suvan in the early morning light and mistook him for a monster." Lim Sang, puzzled, asks, "Why is no one else around?" The woman explains, "Someone kind sent the entire village on the trip. I wanted to go too, but my husband is unwell, so I stayed back." As Lim prepares to interview the man, he asks for permission to begin and shows the video of the experiment. What happens next catches everyone off guard. The man begins to behave very strangely, as though the video triggered something within him. Even his wife doesn't understand what is happening. She tries to control him while Lim Sang calmly pulls out a glass shield from his bag, covering his face. Without hesitation, he shoots the woman and then fires several bullets into the affected man's head. Lim Sang's cold, calculating demeanor is chilling as he gently washes his hands, cleans the blood splatters, and sets the house on fire to destroy the virus and prevent further spread. As he gets into his car, a message pops up on his phone from Joey's manager. He sends a photo of Moy and orders Lim Sang to eliminate him and his gang. Meanwhile, at Manager Choi's safe house, Choi reveals that Jong is being treated at an underground clinic. Severely injured, she was found unconscious and treated by a doctor who recognized her as a wanted person. Fearing someone else might target her, Choi decides to send someone to finish her off. On the other side, 3 of Mr. Seon's men arrive at the clinic, killing the doctor with an axe. They try to finish off Jong, but she quickly grabs one of the goons at knife point, demanding, "Who sent you? Was it Moy?" The thug replies coldly, "It doesn't matter. What matters is you won't survive much longer. You and your father should have stayed away from people like us." Realizing these men were responsible for her father's murder, Jong snaps. She brutally kills all 3 of them and tends to her wounds, revealing scars from a past fight. In a flashback, we see how Moy's men had ambushed her the night she went to steal the vault. Moy even shot at her, but she dodged, and the bullet grazed her head, knocking her unconscious. Believing she was dead, Moy ordered his men to dump her body in the dam. But Jong wasn't so easily defeated. She survived, burning with the fire of revenge. Now, driven by vengeance, Jong dons the doctor's clothes and heads out in search of Moy. As she's sneaking away, more enemies arrive, looking for her. She hides, letting them pass before leaving the building. However, the police spot her at the main gate. She escapes through the back, finding a man loading luggage into his car. Without a second thought, she jumps into the driver's seat and speeds away, leaving the confused man behind. When Choi's manager learns that Jong has escaped, he decides to file a case against Lim Sang, falsely accusing him of killing her. At that time, Lim Sang was planning to kill Moy's right-hand man, who was spending time with his girlfriend. After killing the girlfriend, Lim Sang takes the man at knife point and forces him to drive. Meanwhile, Choi meets with Director Sa at NS. The director tries to convince Choi to hand over the tyrant, promising not to bother him afterward. However, Choi refuses to cooperate, leading to a heated argument. The manager threatens to kill Choi's team members, but Choi remains unfazed, as he had already taken responsibility for their deaths. He even reveals that he killed Professor No himself, pushing his body off a cliff along with a car. Back with Lim Sang, he tortures Moy's right-hand man inside a train-like car, drilling into his body. During the torture, Lim tells the man a story. "You know, when I was a small child, I used to love trains. The railway tracks ran close to my house, and while other kids wanted cars or bikes, I only wanted a train. I grew attached to the sound and feel of them. You're the first person I've brought here, so tell me, what's your experience like?" The man, terrified, wets his pants while Lim, in a sick display of power, demands feedback from him. After some time, Lim asks for Moy's location, and out of sheer fear, the man gives him the address. Lim warns him, "If you're lying, I'll do the same to your family as I did to you." Then, without hesitation, Lim kills him. Finally, Lim Sang heads to an apartment in Busan to track down Moy. Although Moy isn't there, some of his associates are. Lim demands Moy's whereabouts, but they claim Moy has broken contact and they no longer know where he is. Frustrated, Lim Sang kills them brutally. However, while Lim is searching for Moy, Jong also arrives, hunting for revenge. Outside the apartment, some boys are smoking. When Jong sees them, a switch flips in her mind, and she suddenly feels like smoking too. She approaches the group and asks for a puff, but the boys turn out to be rude and disrespectful towards her. Unfazed, Jong heads into the apartment, cigarette in hand. Inside, Jong and Lim Sang cross paths in the corridor. They lock eyes, and Lim Sang gets a strange feeling, as if he's seen her before. He brushes it off and continues ahead. After seeing Moy's friends dead in the room, Lim Sang starts to leave, but then bumps into the same boys Jong asked for a cigarette. The boys are badly beaten, with visible injuries on their faces. Clearly, Jong has taught them a harsh lesson. Angry and frustrated, Lim Sang vents his anger on these boys, while Jong uses the chaos to slip away. However, Lim Sang eventually tracks her down. When they finally confront each other, both recognize each other's true identities. A fierce fight ensues, during which both of them get shot at least once. Yet they continue to battle. In the heat of the fight, Jong demands to know if Lim Sang killed Moy. Before he can answer, Lim Sang receives a message. Moy has been captured by the NIA. Realizing this, Lim stops fighting Jong and turns his focus toward Moy. Meanwhile, we see Director Sa, who is taking Moy to a safe location. But suddenly Paul and his men ambush them. Paul's right-hand man shoots from the roof, killing Moy. They then head to Choi's safe house, where Choi's most important people have been hiding. But Paul's men open fire indiscriminately. Inside, some of Choi's technicians have been struggling to open a vault for days, and finally, it clicks open. However, to their shock, the Tyrant is missing. Moy immediately realizes that it must be Jong's doing, but Paul suspects that Choi and Moy are trying to deceive him. In his mind, if they have the vault, they should also have the Tyrant. Back at the fight between Jong and Lim Sang, chaos escalates when Tyrant's container breaks, and the deadly virus inside it spreads. The virus enters Jong's body through her skin, leaving both her and Lim Sang in shock. Lim demands to know what's happening, and Jong admits that she took the virus from Moy, suspicious of his intentions. She explains that she had planned to return it only if Moy paid her in full. However, Lim Sang quickly realizes that Jong has been infected. In the next scene, we see Paul, furious, ready to take more drastic action. Paul interrogates Choi about the train's location, but Choi doesn't know. Paul then orders his men to attack. When it's Moy's turn, he reveals that the Tyrant is with Jong. Jong and Lim Sang go to the safe house where they face off against Paul's right-hand man, Tom. As the Tyrant's virus starts affecting Jong, she overpowers Tom easily. Lim Sang confronts Paul, who warns of severe consequences if shot. Despite Paul's warning, Lim Sang shoots him. Moy tries to escape, but Lim Sang shoots him in the leg and hands him over to Jong, who kills him as part of their agreement. With Jong's final wish fulfilled, Lim Sang prepares to kill her, but Choi orders the lights to be turned on to see how the Tyrant affects Jong. Her face becomes frighteningly distorted. Lim Sang shoots Jong, but it has no effect. Jong grabs the gun and destroys the lights, plunging the room into darkness. Now affected by the Tyrant, Jong develops a triple personality disorder, with all three personalities arguing. Choi warns Jong to hide from the sunlight, as it could be deadly. Director Sa arrives at the safe house with his men, finding only Choi and Lim Sang alive. Choi kills himself to keep the Tyrant's secret. Sa, frustrated and enraged, kills several more people. Meanwhile, Lim Sang, rescued from the river by Jong, reflects on his father's words about life's unpredictability and how things rarely go as planned. And that wraps up today's story. How did you like the video? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. See you in the next video.